Hello, our great viewers of Fame Global Academy. Welcome to another English class. I am your tutor, Onome Uku. In our previous class, we discussed concrete and abstract nouns. Today is going to be a continuation of nouns on the part of speech. Today's topic is uncountable noun and countable noun. But we're starting with uncountable nouns. Now, what are uncountable nouns? Uncountable nouns are nouns that cannot be quantified. They cannot be what? Counted. They don't have plural forms, and they cannot what? Be counted. So that is what an uncountable noun basically is. Now, they are seen as a whole or an entire mass that cannot be separated. In other words, they are made up of very tiny parts, and those parts cannot be further divided. Okay? So that's why they are called uncountable. For example, water. Water is an uncountable noun because it is made of a whole part. And this part is indivisible. It means that we cannot actually break them into smaller parts. It's a whole part. Okay? Also, we have abstract nouns. Abstract nouns that are uncountable. Remember we mentioned that abstract nouns are like ideas. So they actually fall into uncountable nouns because we can actually, those ones that are ideas cannot be, broken down or counted. Okay, so we have say information as one of them, as one of the uncountable nouns. We have a lot of them which are going to list subsequently. Okay, so water, information, and the others. Okay, so the basic thing you need to know is that uncountable nouns don't take plural forms, they don't take numbers, and they also don't actually have the S. They don't actually have S after them to indicate any plural form. Okay, let's go ahead and give some examples. I said ideas and feelings are abstract words, are considered as abstract nouns. So let's see some examples we have of abstract nouns that are ideas and feelings. We have happiness. Happiness is an idea, and also is a feeling. Actually, is a feeling. We have knowledge. Excitement, enjoyment. We have patience, advice. We have information. And then we have fun. Now if you look at these words and you are very, very conversant with abstract nouns, most of these abstract nouns are actually uncountable nouns. They are uncountable nouns because they actually are feelings indivisible, feelings that cannot be what? That we cannot actually see. They are indivisible. Okay, they are like a whole lot, an idea that are abstract. So we have happiness, knowledge, excitement, enjoyment, patience, advice, information, and fun. So these ideas and feelings are uncountable nouns. They are uncountable nouns. Okay? Alright, so these are what examples of what ideas and feelings that are what uncountable nouns. Now what this means is that most of these abstract nouns are considered as uncountable nouns. Okay? So let's look at other forms of what uncountable nouns. Liquids are considered what as uncountable nouns. Liquids are also considered as uncountable nouns. For example, we have liquids like our beverages and like coffee. We have coffee. We have milk, water. We have gas. We have oil. Now these are nouns, uncountable words, nouns, because they belong to a whole, like a whole body. It's a whole body of mass that we cannot actually separate individually. Okay, so these are examples of liquids that we have, and other beverages you can add to it. Then let's look at other forms of common nouns. Other forms of what? Common nouns. Now, have flower, hair. We have what? Hair. Paper. Wood. Electricity. Weather. Clothing. Furniture. We have soccer. We have music. Equipment. We have equipment. We have homework. And then we have traffic. Okay, so these are what other examples of uncountable nouns. Okay, so let's see how do you identify an uncountable noun? What are the features it has that will distinguish it from other nouns? Let's look at the features. Now, an uncountable noun does not take plural. It does not what? Take the plural form. For example, this is one of the abstract, the uncountable noun we just mentioned, just listed. Now, you cannot actually add s. You cannot add s to water. So we cannot add s to water to convert it to its plural. Okay. So So we can't say plus S to now have waters. So there's nothing like waters. There's nothing like water. So plural form, uncountable nouns don't actually take S to convert it towards its plural word form. Okay. 2. Let me rearrange it so that to be very easier for you to understand it. Okay. 1 cannot. Let me start from here. Cannot be counted. That's cannot count it. It cannot be counted. Okay. It cannot be counted. I want to rearrange it in a way that you will understand it. Okay. 1, it cannot be what? Counted. This means that it will not take what? You cannot say 1 water. You cannot say 1 water or 2 coffee. It's what's wrong. Okay? There is a way that we actually quantify them to make them what? To make them plural. But you cannot add S or to them to convert them to their plural form. So there's nothing like waters or coffees. Okay. 2. They always take a singular verb. They take singular verb. Singular verbs. So what this means is that whichever verb you're using for an uncountable noun has to be in its singular form. For example, we have the water is cold. The water is cold. Now, water here is seen as a singular noun, and according to the rule of Concord, a singular noun should take a singular verb. So that's why we have is here, which is a singular verb. Okay? Then number 3, like we said, it cannot be preceded by numbers. The uncountable noun cannot be preceded by numbers. For example, you cannot say 1 coffee, 1 coffee, or 2 waters. Now these 1 and 2 are called quantifiers, okay? But we cannot use them for uncountable nouns, unlike a countable word. Nouns that actually can be preceded by these quantifiers. Okay. Then for number 4, which is the last one for uncountable nouns, we have measured by quantities. Measured by quantities. That's the use of quantifiers anyway. But this one is numbers, actually. Numbers. Quantifiers. Okay? So what it means is that they are always, not usually, preceded by what we call quantifiers. Quantifiers are words like few, many, some. Okay, so let's see examples here. like let's say some water. Let's say some water. You can say a lot of, let's say, traffic. A lot of traffic. Okay, so a lot of and some here are called known as quantifiers, which we use to actually quantify uncountable nouns. So these basically is what an uncountable noun is. Okay, countable nouns, they don't have words. They cannot be counted. They take the singular verbs. They cannot be preceded by numbers, and also they are measured by quantifiers. The next topic we have, or the next noun we would like to treat now, is the countable noun. The countable noun, which is in contrast to uncountable noun. A countable noun is a noun that has both singular and plural forms. They name things that can be counted, make use of the articles a and also use the quantifiers. So they are actually like the concrete nouns we have fitted before in our previous class. They are actually nouns that you can count individually. You can count them individually, and as a result they have both plural and singular forms. Okay, for example, boy. Then the plural form of boy, of course, is boys, which means that they can take the s to convert them from the plural form to the singular form to the plural forms. Okay, so let's see some of the examples we have of countable words, nouns. Boys, let's see, boys as what? Singular. Then we have what? Boys as plural. We have book, singular. Then books, plural. So in other words, every countable noun can take the s letter as its plural words form, unlike the uncountable nouns that have zero plural in terms of s. Okay, then let's look at another feature of a countable noun, to include the fact that they are used with articles, or called articles. We have three major articles in English language. We have definite article, and then we have this a and an. So this is actually definite article, while a and an are known as indefinite articles. Okay, so what we're saying here is that another feature of an uncountable noun, another feature of a countable noun, is the fact that it can be used with these articles, a and an. Okay, for example, we have we could say a boy, and you could say table, a table. Okay, then you could say an egg. You could say also say an eagle. An eagle. Alright, so this is another feature of a countable noun. So if we proceed further, we have one more or two more features of a countable noun. Okay, so let's see the examples we have here. Countable nouns can be used with quantifiers as well. They can be used with quantifiers, just like the uncountable noun. I think that's one thing they have in common. They can both use or make use of quantifiers. Okay. For example, we have you could say some boys, which actually means more than one boy. You could say many boys or girls. Let's say girls. You could say many girls. Then you could also say few people. And of course, you can use them in sentences. Alright? So some, many, and few are examples of quantifiers that can be used with a countable noun and also, of course, uncountable noun. Alright? So let's see what we have next. Now, countable nouns can be preceded also by numbers. Countable nouns can be preceded by numbers, unlike uncountable nouns that cannot be preceded by numbers. For example, we have one pen. You could say one pen. Two boxes. Three students. Three great students of Fame Global Academy. Three students, you know. So you can see number 1, 2, 3. You can count as, you know, as long as you want. All right. So these are actually the features of a countable word noun. The fact that they are actually converted from their singular forms to their plural forms by the addition of s. Then another feature is that they actually they are preceded by articles, indefinite articles actually, not the indefinite articles. But even the they can also actually be preceded by they too. But we're looking at distinct features of countable nouns. Alright? And then we also said that they can be used with quantifiers like many, few, you know, some. There are lots of quantifiers that you can use with countable nouns. And then we also have the fact that countable nouns can also be preceded by numbers, like number 1, 1 boy, 2 boys, 3 boys, 1 box, 2 boxes, you know, and so on. Alright? So these are the basic features of countable nouns. I'd also like you to know that there are some countable nouns that can also function as uncountable nouns. Or, put differently, there are some nouns that are both countable nouns and at the same time uncountable nouns. Okay? Now, what actually differentiates both is the fact that it's what their meaning conveys. For example, the word iron. Iron can be used as both a countable noun and also be used as an uncountable noun. For example, let's see, iron as a material. We have we use like this in this sentence. They tried to change iron to gold. Now, in this sentence, iron here is actually seen as a material. Is seen as a material, okay? And so that is why we have used it in sentence. But in the other sentence now, the second sentence I'm going to give now is iron here is going to be seen as an electrical appliance. E.g., we have I scotched my dress with the iron. I scotched my dress with the iron. Okay, so this, in this case, iron is what? A material, right? In this case, it is used as what? An electrical appliance. So, in grammar is actually governed by rules, and these rules have exceptions. So this is one of the exceptions in this particular topic. Let me give you homework, so you could, now for your assignment or your homework, what you need to do is to you identify the countable nouns as well as the uncountable nouns in the sentences I'm going to be writing on the board. Okay, I've written 3 so far. I drank 2 cups of coffee. I drank 2 cups of what? Coffee. They need a piece of information, and then there was a lot of traffic, and then I bought two books for the students. Okay, that's 4. And then 5 tables are beautiful. The tables are what? Beautiful. Okay, so number 4, I bought 2 books for the student. Number 5, the tables are beautiful. So all you need to do is to identify the countable nouns as well as the uncountable nouns in each of the sentences. So far, we have been able to explain what countable and uncountable nouns are. We said countable nouns can be counted, basically, while uncountable nouns cannot be counted. All right, and then we went further to give examples of countable and uncountable nouns, both as phrases and also as sentences. And then we also mentioned the features that are unique to both countable nouns and uncountable nouns. All right, so thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next class. Bye for now.